going to try and sort out lighting a little bit better.
Okay.
Is that better?
That's better.
Yeah.
Do you want more lights on?
Maybe one more.
That's really dark.
So that's that
I
one.
think that's good. That's okay. You've got light here to read.
That's okay? All right.
Okay, our next speaker is Mujiburrahman from Indonesia, who's going to talk to us about early warning systems. And this is a speed presentation.
Okay, let me tell you a story about early warning systems in Indonesia. It's a short story, just 5 minutes. Indonesia, to me, has like a late early warning system because after a disaster occurs, then we establish the early warning system. It has happened since the colonial government, when the Dutch ruled Indonesia. In the Kelut eruption, 5,000 people died, and then the colonial government said, let's start building a volcano early warning system. That happened when the Dutch ruled Indonesia. What happened when Indonesia became independent? We had one of the biggest forest fires in Sumatra and Kalimantan. The effect really covered the whole of the equator. Most countries are covered. Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. And then we started to think about, let's build a warning system, hotspot monitoring, or quality of air in the Sumatra region. And then we're monitoring it. 2004, the biggest earthquake, tsunami, most fatal, more than 200,000 people died. Indonesia and the world realized we need to save lives. We need to have a strong multi-hazard early warning system in Indonesia. My research is, the things that we built sustainable? Is the things that we built for multiple hazard or just single hazard? That's my research. To me, I try to see what's written is, I think it's unsustainable. For example, this is the rain gauge observation. As you can see, red, yellow. So the further you are out of the capital city, the less sustainable, or it's inactive. 20% inactive, 10% under inspection. Conflict region or remote region, Aceh, yeah, even in the past. What about the tsunami warning system? You got funding from Germany, you got funding from Japan. In this was launched in 2008. In 2012, 100% of all buoys in Indonesia not functioning. And the recent volcanic eruption and tsunami in the Sunda Strait or Krakatau, after that they said, let's just put one buoy there. So now we currently have one buoy under the technical agency. Now what about the forest fires? From the Ministry of Forestry, only 46% monitoring stations still functioning. So are not active, 46% are active. And you can see that the further east you go, the less sensors are active. So to me, even it's still talking about single hazards, single disasters, it's still, to me, unsustainable. So what's the current literature? Out of 95 articles, we see that it's a strong. People write about sustainability and early warning system. So how come this research doesn't provide good results? And we see that there's a change from single hazards to multiple hazards, from the Millennium Development Goals to Sustainable Development Goals, from the Higher Goal Framework for Action to a Sunday Framework for Action. In 2006, after the tsunami, people said we need to go people-centered early warning system. And then a decade later maybe, now we have to do multiple hazards. How can multiple hazards be people-centered? For me, I want to ask, how can it be sustainable? So my supervisor in 2008, he tried to make a framework of measuring the sustainability of early warning system. At this phase, his research is when the tsunami early warning system was still in its pilot phase. So after that, I had not seen any developments. And let me try to tell you what are the developments. Basically, there's two indicators, macro and micro indicators. And these are currently two different early warning systems, hydrometeorological early warning system, and this is the geological hazards. So now we have two early warning systems that try to cover both. As you can see, there is always gaps if you want to compare Australia to benchmark early warning system. From the WMO, we have Japan, America as a good benchmark, and I put in Australia there just to see how we compare. And as you can see, Indonesia, gaps. Indonesia is this yellow line, gaps, gaps, gaps. But what I see, there is a positive trend. So Indonesia is in the right path to create a sustainable warning system. And in all four indicators show that Indonesia, there is improvements in 10 years to trying to reach a sustainable early warning system. And the final part of my speech is how do we measure the effectiveness, equity and efficiency and legitimacy, and probably we can discuss this after the break. So thank you very much.
So the alarm was accidental, was a bit of a strong hint, wasn't it? Any questions on that? Any questions?
Very interesting work. I assume that you will see the connection between the actors who are responsible in early warning.
Yeah.
Because there's few and it's still confusing in defending the regulation.
Yeah.
But are you also going to look about how Indonesia work with other governments in ASEAN? Because they are doing a concerted effort on doing EWS in the ASEAN region, because the disaster doesn't only affect Indonesia but also the neighboring.
Internationally, like last year, they just established the International Network for Multi-Hazard Early Warning System. At the ASEAN level, there is the AHA Center that also monitors 10 countries in ASEAN. So I've looked at that, but my research focuses basically on how Indonesia, from a centralized government, decentralizes this early warning system. So how early warning system works in a decentralized context. Because I believe that if we are empowering the local governments, we can protect the community better and it's more sustainable rather than just relying on an unsustainable central government.
Oh, so it's focusing on how the
Local government, yeah.
Perhaps time for one more.
How can your early warning system operate right across Indonesia when you rely on mobile phones and the like, and then you sort of cut off the social network that is necessary for those warnings?
Yeah, so basically the main concept here, they always say to have a people-centered. So without relying on government or technology, the people really understand they're living on a disaster-prone area. So the people must understand the risk without relying on electricity or knowledge. They have to have a means to disseminate the warning without having to use phones. And the more remote you go, there's not even a mobile network. So they have to use other means. Yeah.
Cherry ridge.
Sounds like very important research. Can you please? Okay, our next speaker is Mujiburrahman from Thailand, who's going to talk about some of the challenges facing aging farmers in Thailand.